Good evening, Jack and Sally. Good evening, everybody out there. This is Encounters. Jared, good to see you, brother. Davina, Scott Pearson, Tiff, everybody coming in here on Encounters. Welcome. Fat Boy, let's see, everybody, Gary Haas out in Iowa. Good to see you. Everybody out there, Truth Duo, Patricia, Paranormal Ghosts. Good to see you, brother, in the Philippines. Sanelda, thanks for coming in here. Everybody out there, Star. Hello, every whirlwind. TLO 100, good to see you again, and everybody here. All my shows are on my YouTube channel. If you're not on my YouTube channel, you can go to my link on my bio and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Last night's show, our Astar show with myself and April, is on my YouTube channel. It should be downloaded. I did that earlier today, so we're all caught up on all our shows. And tonight's show is live, but being recorded on TikTok. That'll be over. Hey, Chesno, good to see you, brother. That'll be on my YouTube channel, which you can actually access through my main page, and you can actually, go to the link. So it's good to see everybody here. And you never know what's going to happen on the show. Lucas, good to see you. Pink T, good to see you. Mike Masters, Diana Six, I think it's Butch, Denise, Jordan, Krem, hello, sir. Good to see you. Elvira, good to see you. Jamie Sabato, I think it's Scavato. User 684. Hey, David, good to see you. Lavola, good to see you. Ginger, good to see you over in Texas. Horse Lover, Blessed Pisces. That's a good name. Susie, everybody out there. Good to have you with us, Arthur. Papa Joe. Hey, Papa Joe, welcome. V-Rock, Helen, all the people coming in here from all over the world. Karen, Marinette, peace, love, and light to you as always. Jewel, One Old Dog, welcome. Ginger Griffin, hey, Ginger. And everybody out there, wherever you are, I can go, I think it's Neki. Neki, welcome. Let's see, Sherry in, welcome. PJ Funny Bunny, that's a good name. Francine, Joanne, hi. Good to have you with us over in England. Everybody out there, wherever you are, just a big hello to everybody, wherever you are, because I'll be reading off names all night. So good to have you all with us around the world. And if you missed last night's show, which is our Ashtar Command Night with myself and April, you can watch it on my YouTube channel. Hey, Kit Kat, good to see you always. And my YouTube channel is on my link. I have a link to it on my here on my profile. Let's see here. Hello, good to see you, Jody K. Everyone's from all over the place, Whirlwind, from the U.S., England, everywhere. Philippines, Germany, everywhere. Oh, you're welcome, Denise. Good to have you with us. Half Pint, good to see you, Half Pint. Liana. Karen 55, let's see. Hey, Palladium Rainbow. Good to have you all with us here on a Sunday night. We had a little bit of snow here in Connecticut. And hey, and Gen X, good to see you. We had a little bit of snow, but it wasn't a whole lot. We had maybe 4 inches, and we actually, let me see here, 4 inches of snow, and we got that all cleared out so we can drive our cars in the morning. A little bit of snow. We're going to have some snowy weather on and off this week. Hey, Jordan, good to see you too. Everybody, hey, Susan Colby. I think it's Colby, yeah. Hello from Idaho. Good to have you, Idaho. David, Randy. Hey, Randy, welcome to the show. Dax, Brick, welcome. I wish you could see some snow. Well, we had a little bit of it. I'm sure Washington has more snow than we do in New England, at least where I am. Up north, there's more snow. Hey, Witchy Boo, good to see you. 78 degrees, I'll take that, Lakita. I'll take the 78. We're going to have spring soon, so we're in the last part of our winter here in New England. Rusty Blue, welcome. Hey, dude, greetings from Manchester, New Hampshire. I'm sure you got some snow up there in Manchester. Probably a little bit more than we have here, but yeah. Hey, Denise and Marilyn, good to have you with us. Mr. Tack Pans, good to see you. Deanne, welcome. Let's see here. Kenny White, 2213. Gary Haas. Hey, Terry. Good to see you. Long time. Yes, been a while. And we're going to definitely, I like that name. You don't need money. Hello, you don't need money. Well, anyway, Spectacular. That's a good name. Luke 112. Welcome. Good to have everybody here. And we're ready for a great show tonight. We have no idea what's going to happen. And ever since I've been on here, I carried 79. I never know what's going to happen on my show. I do interviews, all kinds of stuff related to the the spiritual ET area. But I can tell you, I really do never know what's going to happen. That's what I love about it, you know. And in my promotion for the show earlier, around 4 or 5 o'clock, I uploaded a promotional video. We're going to get into everything from disclosure to people, seeing UFOs or people that have had sightings. Joseph says I was abducted by ETs. Interesting, Joseph. You just might be our first guest for the night. We're going to follow you, Joseph. He's from Southern California. So when we do interviews, just let the people know, I did watch the Super Bowl. And when it comes to teams, I chose to go with the Eagles. I went with the Chiefs when they were running to get to the Super Bowl, but on the Super Bowl, I went with the Eagles. Yeah, I was watching that. A few things I do watch on TV. I mean, I'm not crazy, on the sport thing, but I did like the Eagles. They played a super game. Really, really good. Yeah, definitely. I thought if I were a commentator, I would say the Chiefs, their defense was not that good, and they gave away the ball a couple of times, I'm not a sports commentator, but my observation of sports is that that's what I was looking at. It was a good game. And a nice diversion from all the things happening in the world just to watch that, So it was good. But we're here now, and we're here with you, and we're glad to have everybody here. Robert, thank you so much. I appreciate that comment. Thank you. Rob, welcome. Jen McPenn. Hey, Jen McPenn, I like that. Yes, they gave up too soon, I think. Yeah, I think they did, Jordan. Yeah, they ran out of the gas too early in the game, And now, if I were rooting for them, I would have turned off the TV if they were losing, because I can't sit there and watch the team that I want to win lose. So I'd probably walk away from the TV. Hey, Denise in San Francisco, good to have you with us. Green Eyes, good to have you with us. Thank goodness I'm not a sports commentator. That's the one thing I don't want to be. But it's good to have everybody here. Anita Garcia, good to see you. Philip Hopkins. Yeah, we already had some stuff at that. We had plenty of snacks. We didn't go out there and get wings or anything, and we just kept it simple, and it was good. It was good. Thank you, Martin B. I appreciate the comments. Thank you, brother. Tonight's a Sunday night, and we're definitely relaxed and feeling good. And if we're watching last night's show with April and myself, the Ashtar Command watches our show all the time. Matter of fact, to let you know, the Ashtar Command is viewing the show right now on the spaceship. So everyone here's, being seen. They can see you. On my phone, luckily, I don't have the interference of communications because I have to do the show. But on April's phone, they're able to communicate. So they are watching the show. They monitor our show. They monitor April's broadcasts. And they're very much tuned in to the show, I think mostly every night. Every night. Oh, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hey, Timmy, welcome. Good to see you. I see lights above my house. What is that van? You tell me. So Anita Garcia, we'll bring you up too. I'm going to bring up my first guest. You have to be over 18. That's part of my rules of the show as a professional broadcaster. No foul language, no drinking, no smoking on the show, no drunks, no paranormal discussion, no religion, and no politics. So I'm going to go back to the person that said they were abducted. Thank you, Dazed. I appreciate that. I will find them. I don't understand why it's so hard for someone just to lift someone's day by a kind word. I don't know, Robert. Some people just don't do that. We try to uplift everybody on this show, so that's a good thing. I don't know. Some people are just in a lower vibration, Hey, Tammy. Hey, Scott Hammonds. Good to see you. Let's see here. And let me go back to the person that said they had been abducted. Where are they? Are they in here? I know there's, as I go back, I'll find the comment. The person had said they were going backwards. We have someone in the room here that said they had an abduction experience. And I'm going backwards to see if I can find that person. Let's see here. I know it's in here somewhere. I go back to comments. I'm looking at my comments to pick up that person. Let's see here. Hopefully, Danny Coach says, I believe I was abducted as a child and I saw a ship last summer. Denny Coat, we're going to bring you up. Denny Coat, if you change your setting on your TikTok to public, we can bring you up on audio. Let's see here. I got somebody in queue. Oh, we're going to bring Terry up here. It's been a while since we have Terry. Ones want to come up, get in the queue, the guest queue. We'll, we have a 2-hour show tonight from 11 till 1 a.m. Eastern. Hey, Terry, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. How you doing?
Pretty good. We had some great stuff last night on our show, and tonight's another great night. So you're the first guest for the night.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
What happened last night? What was so great about last night?
Well, last night we do a thing called Ashtar Encounters Ashtar Command Contact Night. So
Uh,
my friend April, who I work with up in northern Vermont near the Canadian border, we've known each other for 3 years now since the show, and we're part of a group of 5 that are going to be eventually. She goes up now. There's another group of us, of 4 of us here. 2 of them are in here, Chesno, and also Kit Kat, and we're part of a group of 5 that are in the
oh,
same
Kit
regional
Kat.
area.
That's my friend.
Say again?
Oh, Kit Kat's my friend too.
Oh yeah, so you know Kit Kat. Yeah, she would tell you. So we're part of a group of 5, and so last night we interviewed people, and our space, my father on the ship was, is able to communicate through her phone, and they did communicate with, and they answered some questions from the spaceship last night. It was really cool.
Yeah, I don't really want to pick on people because I think Joseph is kind of an introvert in a way. That's I'm
Joseph?
feeling. He says that he has an encounter and kind of feel like he feels shy about it. I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, that might be. Some people are, and that's
Yeah,
cool. Not
he was in the
everybody's.
comments. He was in the comments, and
Yeah,
it
if they're
really
shy, that's
stuck
cool
out
too.
to me. It is a real connection that I feel is very legitimate,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm feeling it.
yeah. Hey, I've had people on here that are shy, and we just honor them. If they make in the comments, I think I was abducted, and they're not ready yet to go forward. And down the road, I've had some of those people come back and say, I'm ready. So
I
they, you
hope.
have to go
I
people's,
hope. I really hope that happens.
yeah, me too. It would be kind of nice. So what have you been
Uh,
up to? What's happening in your world out there?
oh, not much. I haven't really had much contact, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so
But I
I
can
don't
tell you
know.
there's an increase in a lot of, I might be showing some videos later on tonight, but I've noticed an increase of sightings. But it's amazing where it's coming from. There's a number of places I look at, but here on TikTok, people here, forgetting the CGI and the AI videos, there are people here that are now seeing and videotaping and documenting their sightings. People for the first time having orb sightings, some having more traditional looking saucer type craft sightings. So there's a lot of
Nice.
activity increasing all over the place.
Nice. Remember, I was the one that was on
Yeah.
3 different ships and was called crazy. So I hope the introverts could actually come out and say something.
Yeah. I mean, when you had that experience, that's what this, as you know me as a friend, that this show is about that. It's
The
about
one
people
that
who have,
helps us come out. Yeah, that's what
yeah,
I said. Yeah, I was the one that said I like this show because it brings us out, lets
yeah,
us feel not alone. So I hope that these people that maybe say something like Joseph I saw it. I felt it.
Yeah.
It resonated. Something's
I love the
talking to me.
stories, and I love people like Joseph and other people, whoever they are, when they share their stories, it helps other people that might be sitting back and saying, "Well, I don't know if I should say anything." But when you realize after 3 years, so many people I've talked to and interviewed have either been positively contacted and taken on ships, been abducted on the other side of it, people that are videotaping and documenting sightings, whistleblowers who've come to my show in the last 3 years that had top security clearance. I've had it all here. And the beautiful part is the whistleblowers, the people that have the top security clearance, they trust me enough to come on here and say, this person's serious. I'm going to come on here and say something. And they
Yep.
do. I mean, you never know who's out there on TikTok. People might think on TikTok there's no people that have high security clearance
Hi,
that are using
Leslie.
TikTok. There are. There
Yeah.
really are out there.
Let's everybody give a hi to, instead of saying hi to me, let's everybody give a hi to Joseph. Try to get his story. Let him know he's not alone. Say hi, Joseph. I haven't
Yeah.
seen him comment since he first did.
And why don't you mention a little bit about your story for people? We have a lot of people here, and I don't believe everybody, because we have new people all the time coming here. They might not have heard your experience of what you went through.
There we go. Hi, Joe. Hi, Joseph. There we go. There we go.
There we go.
Now we're
Yeah,
rolling. You're
yeah,
not
we're
alone,
rolling pretty
Joseph.
good. Yep.
I'll tell my story, Joseph. You got a lot of love for you, my guy. I saw you. I felt you. My story, I was on 3 different ships, and it started 2 times when I was a kid. One when I was an adult. It's a repetitive story because I've been on the show before, but
Right,
the first
but it might be new
time.
to a lot of people that have never heard it too. So that's good.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Um, I was a kid when I first got on board a spaceship. I was actually abducted in the mid 90s. I was almost a teenager my first time, and my second time, I was in my sleep. The first time I was awake, my second time I was asleep. My first time, it was one of those typical stories. They are very real. The ones that look like a bunch of, and you can look at it on MUFON. It's reported that it was seen by 2 different people.
Yeah,
The spaceship had a bunch of different colors. That makes no sense. I always say that because I'm scientific, but
right. You don't. Well, you want to know what the colors represent? I can tell you. They
yeah,
they they represent the vibrational pattern of the spaceship. So if you see colors like multicolors on a spaceship, whether it be a typical flying saucer with multicolors or orb, it's the vibration of the craft. That's why you're seeing the multicolors. Just so you know, I've studied that
yeah.
part of it for years.
The crowd is definitely welcoming Joseph. I want to know if he's still here. You're not alone, buddy. This is definitely the place you want to be to not be alone.
Yeah. Well, if he is here, he'll make a comment. So he has the potential of doing that anyway. So when you mentioned about the multicolored part of it, I've studied this for years about the color vibrations of ships, and when they're
Mhm.
multicolored, they're usually a high vibrational craft.
It
Just so you know.
was probably high vibrational. I wound up in a
Yeah.
hypnosis state before I went on board. So you're
You went
probably
on a
right.
what now?
I went into a hypnosis state.
Oh, okay. Continue. What happened after that for people that have never heard the story?
Uh, my mind might have been wiped. So you're kind of right about, but I do remember certain things. I remember the experience on the ground the entire time somehow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do remember a little bit being on the ship. I don't
Yeah.
think they were. I'm not sure if they were friendlies or not, but I feel like they were friendlies.
Yeah, you have to go by your feelings, Terry. So I always tell my
I feel like
guests,
they were
go by
friendly.
what you feel, not what you think. So what did you saying you feel like they were friendlies?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what happened? The things that you do remember.
Uh, I really don't remember much.
Yeah, and that's okay too. Not everybody does. You can have a positive experience and not remember everything right now. It could be that there's a block or something in your consciousness.
Yeah,
Um,
there could be
it could be.
because of my other abductions were very, very friendly. The one that I had as an adult was very friendly.
So let's switch the word around because when we say friendly, that's not an abduction. That's a contact experience. So you are a contactee, not
Okay.
an abductee. Just to let you know.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't
yeah,
think
you
that
didn't.
way.
You know, I know you didn't know the term, but based on your story, you would not be an abductee. You're a contactee.
Okay, yeah. On my third occasion, yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And what
My
happened with
second
the?
one. w-
So on the third occasion, what? Tell us about that.
I think I talked about it before. I usually kind of hide that one because they kind of ask me to not talk about it. So
Right,
I
but what? So is there anything to say about what they looked like? Did they say where they came from? Because we
Yes,
have a lot of people
yes,
here, so
definitely. I could talk about that, no problem. They looked
that's
like
what
us.
that's what I want to know. Yeah.
They looked like us. There was every all three times was different species.
Hmm.
You have to understand that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so the third time, the one that I definitely do remember, I don't even know if they have memory wiping capabilities because they didn't
Hmm.
wipe my memory.
Hmm.
They didn't do any memory wiping at all.
The one that was the good ones, the ones that you talked to.
I think they were all good,
They were all
honestly.
good. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think the ones that wiped my memory, I think they were good too. The
All
second
right. But
one was I am clean wiped.
what? And
I
the third one, what did they? What that third group did that looked like us? What did they say to you? Like in general, where they're from? Did they say what part of the solar system they're from, or galaxy, or anything?
they did, but I do not remember those parts.
Okay.
Sorry, I can't
That's all right.
remember. But yeah, they did actually disclose everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what they told me, they told me that my son would be very well taken care of as a replacement. So that the only
Hmm.
thing that you can infer from that is that some people on this planet have been replaced.
And what
I
what do they mean by replacement? That's an interesting comment you made.
they wanted me to do something for them and they would replace me and my son would have been taken care of.
How would they replace you?
They would put uh uh one of their guys in place of me.
So are you saying they would bring somebody that looks like you to take care of your son?
Well, it kind of looks like me, not
Kind
exactly
of,
like.
not exactly. So they're not cloning anybody. They're bringing a space person in that
Yes,
would. So
yes.
it's not somebody that's cloned. It's a space person that would take care of your son. And why would they want to bring? So they have a mission for you, obviously, and they need to take you on the ship. Correct?
For all of us, because we are carbon based, they need our carbon to survive.
So this particular group of specific ETs needs our carbon to survive. And
Yes.
my father and my mother, they don't need any of that. They're from a whole different place in
Yeah,
space. But
yeah, that
yeah,
makes sense.
they're all different.
But we're
So, but
carbon
this,
based beings here on Earth,
yeah.
and this last one that picked me up was they need
Hmm.
a carbon base to they'll give you a good offer and they're honest about it. They're sincere. You basically be their leader.
Hmm. So how did they find you? Do you already have a connection with them as a connection to
Yes.
their you're part of their starseed connection, right?
Earlier abductions, they that's how they found me.
Mhm.
They know
Well,
that I
you're a contactee, not an abductee. They didn't do anything to you. They're not putting anything in you, correct?
correct.
Okay.
Yes, I am
Just
a
want
contact.
just want to
I
clear that.
guess.
Yeah, no, you are. So you have a connection to this group that needs to have this other space person take care of your kid and have you on the ship. And and if they're having you on the ship, um, beyond needing the carbon-based stuff, it, did they tell you what planet they come from? Their relationship to you?
They did, but I don't remember it.
You don't remember it. I'd love to know what that
No.
is. I
That
know
was
you don't
the
remember it.
No, I don't. They didn't wipe
Hmm.
my memory. They don't. Those ones, they don't wipe your memory.
And how
They
come you're?
will
Yeah.
when they pick you up. They will take you to a childhood memory that even if you didn't have those memories, they
Hmm.
will take you to that place.
Hmm. They'll bring you to a place where you can remember. Correct?
Yeah, like well, even if you didn't even like, I didn't watch the Magic School Bus when I was a kid, but that's what they
Yeah. Yeah.
played me.
Huh. So, do you have a? I mean, I keep getting a feeling that you have a mission with them on their ship, not to just do this other thing, but there's a greater important mission beyond them needing carbon-based stuff. Have they
They
told you
have a
what
greater
your mission
mission
is?
but
But you
they're
have a mission
fine.
too.
They're fine without us. Honestly, they are
That's
fine. They have plenty of time.
yeah.
They don't need anything right now.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's basically how it goes.
Yeah. Um, one of my viewers, David, says it sounds like they're implanting memories into your consciousness. Do you feel
That
that's
they come to you that way, and they try to present it as a dream, but that's not how it works. They don't really have that technology down like the other ones.
hmm
The other ones can actually wipe your memory and make it look like a dream. They
hmm
don't really have that technology.
yeah,
It works. They have
yeah.
somewhat.
hmm
I don't know if that makes
Why
any sense to you.
it does? Why did the other ones want to wipe out memory? Can you tell us that?
I don't know because my memory was wiped.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of going to somebody who deals with ET levels of hypnotic regression?
Yes, I've thought of that.
Yeah, I'm getting that might be a good thing if you find the right person now.
Yeah, you told me that before.
Yeah, they got to be honest. Yeah, I've said that before to you. You really need to do that. I'd like to see your memory come back because you really need to for your own sake. You should be able to have that for for galactic history, for cosmic knowledge, that you should be able to remember everything you go through when you're being in a situation like that. So I would still pursue
Yeah.
that, Terry.
I was on the show before and I
Yeah, I
was
know.
as an abductee and I talked about the other times.
Yeah. No, I really do think you need to find an honest person that has a reputation that's good, who does hypnotism for people that have had contactee experiences. Like I said, it sounds like you're having a contactee experience, but I think that until you get the person that does hypnotic regression, you're not going to get to know all the things that you need to remember.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah, yeah. And now, do I want to remember this? Do you have a better half in your life too? You have a son. You have a son, right?
I have a son.
And you have a wife too, right?
No.
Okay. All right. So, in this, because somebody asked me about that on the chat here, part of it. All right. So, I
Oh,
would recommend. Yeah.
whoever's in the chat that wants to talk, you can come. I mean, I don't know if
Now,
you're
they were
okay with
just
it. It's
asking.
your
They were just
show.
asking a question. That's all.
It's your show. They can come up and talk to me. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not a gatekeeper.
No, no. All right. Well, I want you, everyone who's not heard Terry's story, this is just a recap for those that are new to the show. A Half Pint was one of my friends. They're up in the Appalachians, Mary and Ray. They have contact with the Anunnaki. They physically have contact.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'll be the first one to say this show is not bullshit.
and we appreciate that. Terry's been on before. He's watched my show probably quite often. And what we do here is real. And also, I have my own experience when I was a kid. So, all right, Terry, I'm going to let you go, man. There's so many all these people lined up in the queue now. So
Okay.
you are the first guest on here. I appreciate you, man. Always, and
Oh, thank you.
thanks
Um,
for sharing the story again. But
I'm
definitely get
gonna do my
hypnotic
best to
regression.
stick around for a minute
Yeah,
if people ask questions
yeah.
or anything. So I'm just gonna I'll try my best to stick around.
All
And
right.
I really want to hear Joseph's story because I really have an intuition feeling about that. So, like I was telling
And
everybody
yeah,
in the comments, I was saying, let's get Joseph because I have an intuitive feeling he might have left.
he might have. People come and go. I've got two people waiting to come up here. So what we'll do is I'll bring it down for now, but I like to do like one person at a time on here. I tried to do it 3 years ago with multi guest options with three or four people,
Right,
and it
that's
gets
great.
crazy. It gets a little bit
I'm just
crazy.
saying, I'll try to stick around.
Okay.
I want to hear Joseph's story,
Yes.
and I think everybody else does too.
I don't think he's here. This person Joseph. I'm looking in comments. I don't see him here in anything. He's not. There's no
You
comments. He
actually
might have
said
been in
his
here.
name earlier,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah. I
got
don't
the
think that.
chills when I heard it because, like, I know that guy has got a real story.
Yeah. No, I don't think he's here. I do know there's two people waiting to come up
I
here
don't
that
think he's here. Bring him
uh
up. You can drop me, or you can
oh,
bring
yeah,
up
I'm going
other
to drop you
people. I
now.
don't care.
I'm just going to go one at a time. But I appreciate you, man, for coming back on. And I want you to reshare the story because we have so many different people out there around the world that never heard your story. I think it's fascinating that you were able to. But definitely, I want you to get hypnotic regression at your own pace. Find out the right person to do it, man or woman, and try to get that memory back, man, because that's going to
I
be
want
really
to try
important.
that.
Yeah.
Maybe we can figure out how to do that together.
Well,
You
message
know,
me.
so we could
Bud
help the
Hopkins.
show.
Well, Bud Hopkins used to be alive. I knew him. He wrote books about people on this subject. But all right, man,
Yeah,
we're gonna let you
I
go. There's a
know.
lot of folks saying they've had some stuff going on. And Terry, you are our first guest. Thank you so much, brother, for coming up.
All right. Thank
I
you.
appreciate you, man. All right, let's bring Terry down here, and let's see who's in queue. We're gonna bring. I'm going to bring Gerrica. I know there's a number of people out there that I'm seeing
Oh,
your comments. If you want to be on the show, get into the multi guest option. If you've had any experiences, abductions, you've been a contactee, if you've had UFO sightings recently, and you want to talk about your story or you have disclosure information, there's a multi guest option on your TikTok. You see two little people, one's blue, one's kind of pinkish. Go into the multi guest option. Gerrica, good to see you.
hello. Yes, good to see you as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna press my little button here with the camera thing.
Yeah,
If you want to come up, I have a camera
yeah,
option.
absolutely.
Okay, there you are. Good to have you
It's
with
just something
us.
to click in now. Hi,
And
everybody. Hey, I wasn't expecting this, but this is awesome.
yeah, and tell us where you are on the planet.
I am in Boston, Massachusetts right now.
Ah, we have a lot of people in Massachusetts to watch the show. So tell us about your experiences. Where would you like to start?
Okay, well, I suppose I should start at the very beginning, which was really before I was born. From the time that I was young, and actually, we've spoken a little bit before, but a long time
Yeah,
ago.
a long time ago. I remember.
My grandmother was taken and told me from a very young age about her experiences, which seems kind of cruel. You know, I was afraid, but she wanted me to, you know, if it were to ever happen to me, she wanted me to know that I could tell her about it because, you know, she felt so lonely not being able to tell anyone, and she was so ridiculed for believing this that, you know, she just wanted me to know that it was okay to tell her. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I remember we had you on
So
the first time.
anyway,
So go ahead.
throughout her life, you know, she told me myself, my aunt, my mom, my sister, we all heard the same stories. She was put under hypnosis, and all of her stories say the same. She spoke of little grays, and she did not speak of them in a good way.
Yeah,
Said that
yeah,
they were very mean. And she said the last time that she was taken, so she was taken between the ages of about 10 to 55. The last time she was taken, she came in contact with a very tall man named Ash who had long platinum blonde hair and blue eyes.
Hmm.
He apologized to her for all that she had been through and said, "Can I do anything for you?" And she said, "Don't take my children." And he has a little aside with the Greys, and they say, "We have a very vested interest in your blonde daughter." And my mom is blonde. And she said, "Nope, don't take my children." Anyway, but she didn't know if they were going to honor this or anything.
Mm-hmm.
While she was here, while she was alive, I never saw anything happen. Now, I started researching aliens, everything she had said, everything I could get my hands on. I
Mm-hmm.
researched. And nothing happened until, I don't know, this was like years and years ago, like 7 years ago, maybe, six
Yeah.
or seven, when I started noticing a blue light and it would permeate through everything. And then I would just notice silhouettes, and that was it. I had some strange markings. I would be like with no explanation. I would be pregnant and then not pregnant.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah. And then, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, they woke me up on the
Can you
ship.
explain who they are? The blonde
So,
person or?
so the aliens. So they're not Greys. The ones that take me, they are not Greys. They are about 5'2".
Mm-hmm.
They are telepathic. They have pretty much no mouth, no nose. They do
Mm-hmm.
have ears, but they kind of wear hats that cover them. You have to see them without the hat.
Okay.
Um, they're pointy. Um, they are incredibly nice. They call themselves the Verdians.
The Verdians. Did you say
Yep.
they're incredibly nice?
Yes.
Okay, good,
Extremely
good, good.
benevolent.
Oh,
Extremely
great.
benevolent.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's funny because I knew that they had been taking me, and I know that they allow me to remember some things and not others. But of course, I asked them, "What made you want to now suddenly wake me up?" Because really it was just so apparently I have one alien who like watches over me. I guess anyone who gets taken is kind of like assigned their own alien. And again, these guys are the nice guys.
What do you mean?
They
When
make
we say
sure.
alien, just to convert the word, because alien's like an Earth-based term. So these space beings, you call them non-terrestrials, or call them space beings, they're aliens. That probably is more of a defined term of who they are that you're
Or
kind
an
of talking about.
EVE.
Or
EVE.
EBEs. The EBEs would be like the Zeta. The space beings would not be EBEs. They would be more like the human ones, like the ones you Verdans have ears. What was the color? They're 5'2". Can you describe what the color of their skin was?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So it's silver, but it's iridescent. It kind of shines almost like purplish green.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean,
And they
yeah.
have big eyes, but they do have pupils and irises like we do.
hmm hmm
Um, and they're from what I can see, they don't speak. I've only ever heard them communicate telepathically. But essentially, so he just woke me up on the ship, and I was in a room that was. People always ask me about the ship, and I'll tell you what I can remember, what I've seen of the ship. There is a light that permeates everywhere. I can never find the source of this light, but it's perfect. It's like kind of darker, and it's like imagine like perfect candle lighting, always, all the time.
hmm
Except I can never find a source. It's kind of like a dark golden light, I
hmm
suppose. Yes, they do wear robes. They do wear robes, and I've actually worn a robe of theirs once, and it's incredible. It's the nicest, silkiest material that you could
Oh
ever
wow,
imagine, and it makes like your body temperature perfect. Like it would really, and it
wow.
like even like their slippers
hmm
will adhere to your feet perfectly.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and their food is really good. And it's all plant based. And get this, you can eat as much of the food that they give you as you want, and you won't gain weight.
Oh
Your body
wow.
takes whatever it needs and expels the rest. And it's all made from one plant from their planet. And they can synthesize any human food. It's the best food I've ever had.
Oh my gosh. This is
Yeah,
amazing.
it is so cool. So their whole deal, they live 20,000 years. They don't have to sleep. They took that out of their DNA sequence.
They don't sleep at
They
all.
Nope, they don't have to sleep. They
That's
watch,
wild.
yeah, any civilization in the universe within 1,000 years of space travel, they watch.
Hmm.
because once they get to the point of space travel, if they are a malevolent species, what they will
Hmm.
do is they'll be like, you can do whatever you want on your planet, you just can't, go to space, you can't weaponize space. If it's a peaceful species, they are welcomed in to the Galactic Federation, that's what they call it, of sovereign
Yeah.
planets.
Hmm.
And that's that. But apparently Earth is very difficult because they've never found a place that was good and bad. They say
Yeah.
that it's mostly good people here, but the bad people really have the upper hand and are the ones that, they're pretty much ruining it for the rest of us. We should have been welcomed into the Galactic Federation a long time ago. It's
Yeah.
just because of
So
these,
they're
the bad
saying, if you missed the show last night, we had a beautiful show, because we talked before. Um, so actually, the negative ETs are trying to do some last ditch efforts to try to stop what we know is going to happen. And I know internally you know this too, but it's not going to work. They're afraid. They have nothing left to stop us with. They're using some stuff with our government to try to prevent contact, and contact is coming probably be by 2026. This is, you know me enough to know I've talked about Ashtar Command and I work with them, and the Galactics are all part of the Ashtar Command. So they have tried to stop the top echelons of the command itself, but the command is right on top of this thing. They've caught the I forgot the name of the group. They came from another dimension, and they gave our government some weapons that the command has actually confiscated. They didn't get all of them. They let one off in the Pacific, and the Atlantic Ocean, off the coast of the Atlantic in Florida. This was done a few weeks ago, but the command has closed the portals and prevented them from doing any more harm. And it was definitely used against the sea creatures or the sea life, which is like the whales and the dolphins and other life forms. So you're right. There is that has been happening. But tell me more about what's happening. So in terms of
Well, so
the
I wondered
Verdians.
why, why did he wake me up and why is he letting me remember? Because when I saw him, first of all, I should have freaked out.
Hmm.
Something about the blue light makes you very calm. And
Yeah,
also, I had a feeling that I had met him before.
yeah.
So I know that he picks and chooses what I remember. He told
Hmm.
me the first time. I've now spoken with him like face to face and remembered about maybe like 6 times.
Yeah,
I know they've taken me a lot. I just can
yeah.
remember. So he said that, you can tell people about this, just don't do it to your own detriment. Because I know
Right.
that people think that you're going to be crazy. So you're more than welcome to. Please try to spread the message, but don't let that
They're
harm your
trying to,
personal life.
and they're trying to protect you from not looking a certain way to the human population. Correct?
Yeah, because they know that people don't take too kindly. We're not looked upon favorably for the most part. Anybody who
Yeah.
talks about this. But kind of even just me saying this to non-believers is good because at least it's in their subconscious mind, and I'm telling you, they are not bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No, the Verdants sound
they're
beautiful.
totally benevolent. They really are. But it's so funny. So get this. So he wakes me up, and apparently, some humans. So they're entirely telepathic. Some humans are better at like they call it interfacing when
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
yeah. So some humans are better at the telekinetic part than others. And
Mm.
also, they've been studying us for 1,000 years. They've been abducting us, but they haven't really had like face to face
Is a
conversations.
let's try to change the word because yours is a positive contact. You're a contactee, not an abductee.
Yeah.
So let's try to take that one word out because
Yeah.
you're
Okay, well,
having
for other people,
she's
so
a
they've been
yeah,
taking people without
yeah.
contact, but without talking to them. They've been taking people to study for so many thousands of years and watching us. Um, but they haven't
Hmm.
been waking us up, so they don't know what's it really like to have a conversation with a human. What's our sense of humor? What are our
Hmm.
mannerisms? What is
Hmm.
polite? What is impolite?
They
Because
don't
if
know that.
they don't, and if because well, they kind of do, but they kind of need some practice because it's
Hmm.
very different from it's very very different.
It's
Like
like
for
it's like
example,
it's like trying to learn French, and I know a little bit of French, but if someone
yeah,
speaks French to me, for the most part, I can only remember certain things of it, and I don't know the language. I have to learn how they speak French to learn French. So same thing with the space people that you're dealing with. They have to learn. They're trying to figure out how we operate in our consciousness in order to communicate with us, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They really do need to, and plus, like simple things like if somebody goes to shake their hand. In fact, he didn't know what a joke was. You know how difficult it is to teach an alien what a joke is?
Yeah, no, they might know. My
Or
parents know how to
maybe
be
they
funny.
do.
Yeah,
It's just different, you know? So like
yeah.
the way they perceive things is different. But he did come up with one joke. So I tried to explain to him what a joke is. I gave him some examples. The next time I saw him, he said, I have a joke for you. Guess what his joke was?
What?
What do you call a cow without legs?
Oh, really? That was it. And
Ground
what was
beef.
it?
Ground
Ground
beef.
beef. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Now that's pretty wild coming from an extraterrestrial intelligence.
Well, I laughed and he said, is that funny? And I was like, no, but yes. He was like, but you're laughing. And so now I have to
Mhm.
try and tell him what irony is. It's
Right.
really quite fascinating because they're so incredibly, incredibly intelligent. And I don't know if they
Yeah.
have jokes in their own way or maybe
Mhm.
I'm just not communicating it well. But
Well, that
definitely,
is kind of funny. Everyone in the audience is kind of laughing, when my space family, my father, Robar, he's very much a funny person, and my
mhm.
mother, Luna, and they're human. They're very much human. But the Verdans are vegetarian, correct?
Oh, yes, they absolutely 100% they are. They
Wow.
can
Yeah.
synthesize meat, but yet, like, no, absolutely no meat whatsoever. I think that they can eat some meat byproducts. I don't believe that they do, though.
Yeah. If they're vegetarian, plant-based, they wouldn't be eating any kind of meat.
Nope, no meat whatsoever at all. They're very
Hmm.
much against that. They do believe that animals have souls. They know we have souls. In fact,
Yeah.
they spoke about finding heaven in the universe.
Okay, that's interesting comment. So the space being the Verdant said they're looking to find heaven in the universe.
They did find it. They did find it.
They did find it. So tell me about that.
So
Where
yeah, because I
did
was asking about religion, and did we get it wrong? Right. Well, I mean, obviously it's wrong to me. I do believe in God. I don't believe in organized religion. So what they said, this is the story he told me,
hmm
that they were traversing through the universe and they came upon an anomaly. Something that was so anomalous they knew it didn't, and they're the smartest of all the beings in the universe. So they knew when they went off the scale for everything, they couldn't scientifically figure it out. So they called their highest theologian, and that theologian went to the coordinates. And when he got there, he was taken from the ship into the anomaly without a spacesuit or anything.
hmm
He was in the anomaly for 8 Earth days, is what he said.
hmm
And so all of the Verdians were waiting to see what was going to happen, when he got back. After 8 Earth days, he returned, and they had all just been waiting and praying. And he had one thing to say, one word. And the one word was rejoice.
Rejoice. So
Rejoice.
the anomaly that that he went in, what was the name of the Verdant? Did they give you? Does he give you his name? Like
He did give me a name. His name, they make up human names for themselves that are so silly. His name is Paul.
Paul, but does he have like a name from his own world, like a different name?
I asked, and he said, there's no way I'd understand.
Okay, that's okay. Hey, Mahansuk. So this is great. So they go to the anomaly. People who are just tuning in. This is Jerry. She's been on my show before. She's a great guest, and we're showing more of. She's a contactee with the Verdants, who are space people that are good people that they don't have to look. They're about 5'2". You said right, 5'2".
Yeah, 5'2". And
Yeah,
to those who say they are not conscious, so the little grays, those are biological AI. They do not have souls. The
right,
Verdants, however, they do have souls. So
right.
there are some, I think just ones. I have an alien baby. I do believe that they did take two from me at least, and
And who did that? The Zeta or the Zeta did that to you?
I don't know who did it. I think it was the Verdants. I'm pretty
The
sure it was the
Verdants.
Verdants. But
So
I'd
the
be
Verdants.
surprised. I would be surprised. But, I was thinking they have no problem procreating, right? But think
hmm
about it. Let's say that we were to nope ourselves out of existence as humans, as a species of
hmm
humans. They would want human DNA to live on, but also to
Right.
be able to survive on another planet. So
Yeah.
perhaps they just don't want to lose all human DNA forever.
So this is the thing. You've got two different energies here. You got the Verdians that are from a high vibration and the Zeta who are from a lower vibration. But you do know that you have the control of saying no more, no more contactee, no more things with the Zeta. You can cut them right off of your contact. You know that, right?
I do. When they show up, there's only two times I can think of where they took me. And it was during the day. It was in the middle of doing something. I don't remember it, but when I came back, my nose was just gushing and I was crying. My
Oh
face
my
felt
gosh.
puffy.
Okay.
And it was literally in front, like I was like on the screen. It also fried my keyboard and fried my speakers. That was
Oh my
annoying.
God.
Yeah, and all the lights flickered and stuff. When the Verdants take me, and that only happened twice. The Verdants, it's like, I'm asleep, and then either they put me right back, or if they wake me up, it's always very pleasant. It's a very
Yeah.
pleasant experience.
Yeah.
And they
So
give, like, such a beautiful feeling of love and warmth.
yeah, the
Nothing to
burdens.
fear.
I can feel the energy there. Yes, one of the things I'd recommend is because the Verdants are I don't if the Verdants, do they have children of their own?
They do, actually. So, as I understand, there are 500 trillion of them throughout the cosmos. That's what he said. They live on all
500
different
trillion.
planets. 500 trillion. But that's like, they come from a different galaxy entirely. I asked where he
Mm-hmm.
was from, and he said it very, very far away. I wouldn't know. I asked how they get around. And in my silly human brain, that's like me going to the year like 900 with my cell phone and trying to
Yeah.
explain how that works
Mm-hmm.
to somebody. Essentially, they said that they can bend, the fabric of space-time like we fold a t-shirt. They can also
Mm-hmm.
create wormholes where necessary. So that's cool.
So let me get back to the heaven thing. People have questions about that. I want to get back to that. The wormholes, well, the space people can. It's like us traveling over a bridge from into Boston from Rhode Island. So a wormhole, folks, is something where it's a traveling open area to go from one place in space to another place in space, and the wormhole gets you there like in a nanosecond. In terms of heaven, could they now they said the Verdun said rejoice. What did when they said they found the anomaly, which was heaven?
Mhm.
Did they explain what that was looking like from a space being
So
perspective?
yes. So from what I can understand, and again, I'm not the best with telepathy. I'm
Okay,
better than most, but from what I understood, the idea is that there's nothing to fear of the afterlife. But really, we are meant to be in this moment. The greatest way that we can worship God is to worship all the amazing things that God has created.
right.
Um, yes.
It's
So
just
yeah,
universal for everybody, right? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So just for that's all they, because think about it. There is no hunger. There is no suffering for them. Their lives are perfect. So what they
Mm,
wanted, they're all about study. They're all
hmm.
about peace. The peace is the number one thing, is to make
Peace.
sure that the universe is as peaceful as possible. They want to
Hmm.
help as many species as possible, and they want to learn as much as possible, gather as much
Hmm.
knowledge as they can. And
Wow,
that's what
very
their life is
interesting.
about.
Yeah, I have to imagine the Verdun have their own children on their own planets, like kids. They boys and girls. They might look different
So
than us, but
So this was an interesting one for me. They don't get married or anything. Now, if they do, apparently the verdant women they can have one child in their
hmm.
lifetime. Now they can also create children in like tubes if necessary, but the verdant females usually choose to carry the child. They
Okay.
can have one, and if two verdants come together and create a child, then they stay together for 80 years. That's how long it is because they live 20,000. So 80 years would be pretty much them being out of high school to us.
So the Verdun lived to be 20,000 years old, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah,
They
it's a
couldn't
lot
make it any
longer.
longer. They just kept going and going, and they realized 20,000 years is where it stopped. They could not make it any longer.
Right, for their specific galactic race. And different races, some when the Ashtar Command realm my father, they lived to be I think over 50,000 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. But it's all a lot longer than you and I on Earth right now. Although
So
we weren't
also,
supposed to be limited.
but somebody asked, can they time travel? So here's the thing: to traverse those kinds of space, that kind of space, you really are going into the fourth dimension. That is time travel, because
Mm,
space and time become the same at some point. So yes, they can, but from what I understand, they don't often because it's very
hmm.
easy to mess up the past or present or future.
Oh,
They
really?
want things
Okay.
to, yeah. So they use it for the purposes of space travel, time travel, but they do not go and change history or anything like that. They don't want to muck it up.
My friend Mahan Suk is asking, do you know what star system they're from?
No, so I did ask, and he said that there's no way that I would know. He said it's very not in the
Really?
Milky Way. It's not Andromeda. He said it was so far away that I wouldn't even be able to like
You can
comprehend.
chart it on a star
No,
map or anything.
no.
Interesting. Very interesting. Wow. Amazing. So this is really kind of amazing. So they are a very advanced civilization. On their planet? Do they have like um, their own homes? What kind of structures do they have on their world? Did they tell you?
No, actually, not really. I do know, again, that most of them don't live on their home world because there are so many. They live on,
Okay.
like, some of them mine on asteroids, some of them, and just like, if a human were to become a biologist or a zoologist or whatever, they would want, like, they would choose a certain species. So we know, again, any species within 1,000 years of space travel, they start to watch to see, and they, if they're going to be malevolent or benevolent, and base their decision on if they're welcomed into the Galactic Federation based on the kind of species they are. But
Yeah.
just like with any biologist or zoologist, they choose like, oh, you know what? I want to study humans, or just like
Right.
someone might say, I want to study dolphins, or I want to study insects. These are verdants who decided they wanted to study humans, and we are very complex. So human
Yeah.
study is difficult.
So, and the thing is, and I can speak from a galactic
Yes.
situation. When I was a kid, I think I told you this story. My contact with men and women on a spaceship in a cul-de-sac in Long Island when I was a kid before I moved to New England, they were human, they were tall, and they had young adults that were wearing these light blue spacesuits, and they talked to me telepathically because that's how they talk. But they told me I never forget them, and that they're all about love and everything. And so the Verdin, people have to understand some of the different galactic space beings some of them look very human. Others look like you're saying with the different color radiating from them, men and women that look a little bit different. But the one thing they're all about is love, and also they're plant based. So my parents, they're vegetarians. They don't eat meat. They grow what they call a pearl, which is like a little tiny watermelon, and they grow all kinds of vegetables. On one of their big ships, they have agricultural type people, space people that grow all the food they need, all vegetarian food. It's very, yeah, they do that, and
Yeah,
that's the higher
totally.
vibrational. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and that it is a kind of food that comes from their planet. And just how neat would it be if we had food that you could eat as much as you want, and your body just takes
yeah,
what it needs and expels the rest?
yeah. It's
Oh, that
pretty
would be
cool.
so cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. I
I
love
remember
that
because they
story.
always offered me food. Like, okay, so
Yeah.
when they would interface with me, what I'm in a room with nothing else but that light that seems to come from nowhere but permeate everywhere. That like perfectly
Mm.
golden candlelight is everywhere. And like from the 1950s, like the study that a father would have, like those leather couches
Mm-hmm.
or chairs or something. It's just two of those in a room across from each other. That's all that's in the room. But they would always wheel in food for me, like
Mm.
sandwiches, cookies, anything you would want.
Right.
And he can read my thoughts. So I'm going, oh, I want that, but calories, that's too
Mm.
many calories. And that's when he tells me, and I'm like, it took you that long
So
to
if
tell
you
me.
so if you wanted, Juria, if you wanted to say I was on the ship and I love ice cream, good, natural ice cream, would they be able to create something similar to that would taste like ice cream?
Absolutely. They have, and I
Amazing.
know it's all
Yeah.
plant-based. They have steak that tastes like steak. They have bacon that tastes like bacon. Better than any food I've ever had on earth, for sure.
Yeah.
And their clothes are just so comfortable, so beyond
Wow.
comfortable. Oh yeah. And they
Amazing.
so I never people often ask if I've seen another human. I have not, however. That room that I was speaking of with the chairs in it, the two
Mm-hmm.
chairs across from one another,
Mm-hmm.
I saw a female verdant come out of one of those, and all I kind of saw was the leg of a man. But I could sense from this verdant that she was very frustrated because this man was just not like able to interface, you know? Like, he said that they wake up a lot of people who are just not capable of telepathy. Some of
They're
us
not.
kind
They're
of
not.
can.
They're not at that level like you would be, because you're. I know, reading your energy, you're at that you're at a beautiful level of enlightenment in your consciousness. You know that already, right?
Yeah, and so are you, which is so wonderful. And I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah,
so
yeah,
great.
yeah,
I love to be
yeah.
able to talk to people who really get it and really understand because it's so rare.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people on here that are having similar things that are watching the show all over the world. So the good news is none of us are alone. I think that's why I came here 3 years ago to start this show. And then I met my father, who I'm physically going to meet soon. He was on last night talking through my friend April, who's in Vermont, and she has two phones. Now they're operating through both her phones. They communicate through the phone. So they'll speak through her phone. She'll hear it, and we'll hear like a sound like interfering with the phone, and that's them speaking to her. And then she repeated, what my father said last night, and he said, you'll be seeing me soon. So I don't know what soon means because they're on a spaceship. To me, if the word soon on Earth is different, like, so I'll see you tomorrow, I'll see you next week, or I'll see you soon, and then you see the person in town next week. But in space, our space family, my father, when he says, I'll see you soon, I know it's going to probably be near the end of the year. So that's how I take it. So, yeah.
2027, I'm hoping, but he does tell me again, you can say whatever you'd like to whomever, but not to
Yeah.
my detriment because we don't know. They could change their mind. They wanted to do disclosure in late 90s, early 2000s and change their mind because of a lot of things that happened.
Yeah. Well,
So
I
I
can
would
tell
like to
you,
promise.
yeah. So from the Astro Command perspective, it's set in stone. The contact with the command is happening by 2026. It's not going to be the original timeline. I can tell you, and they work at the highest levels of all the galactic levels with everybody. They're saying there are these leviathans that were trying to stop things with the government, but it's not going to be stopped. They are going to have contact by the end of the year. So that's a
Well,
good thing.
I love to hear that. And I know that they've wanted to do contact for quite some time. They've been wanting to do contact. It's
Yeah.
just our government keeps saying we're not ready. And now they're realizing, like, okay, like, F what the government's saying, seriously, because the government just wants to stay
The
in.
government, the government says we're never ready for 70 years.
Oh, yeah. They're never going to say we're ready because that means that they lose a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the power they have over us. And the Verdians were being very respectful of their wishes, but now they realize
yeah.
that they don't have our best interest at heart at all.
Well, they never
And
have. You know this,
they,
right? You know this.
yeah, and that's why they feel bad. They do. They feel really, really bad for us. They really want to
Hmm.
help the good ones of us, and they're realizing just how bad the government is. That like to the detriment of the entire species, they won't let them help just so that they
Yeah,
can stay in power.
right. Mario's saying, can they heal disease? Yes, I can speak from an Astro Command perspective because I'm connected with the
Yes.
space people. Yes, once contact happens, there are things like med beds, and not just the med beds. The space people can heal people just with their hands. That's by touching you. There's everything they do is yes, they can heal diseases, everything once contact happens.
Oh yeah, and I mean,
Absolutely.
I've wondered why. I have health problems. Why don't they do it? I don't know. I hope that once this happens. Interestingly, I often wonder. I have autoimmune disorders, one of which is POTS, which has to do
Hmm.
with like pretty much like POTS. Like there's all these like joke shirts that say like allergic to gravity, and
Hmm.
I am
Yeah.
actually kind of. And I wonder if it's the previous hybridization that was done to my grandmother that causes me to not do as well in this
Yeah.
like Earth's gravity. But I think that once disclosure happens, yes. I mean, there would be, not only would they heal disease, there would be no poverty, there would be no hunger, there would be
Oh,
no
absolutely
war.
not. Yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
Every
And
single problem that we have, poof, gone.
yeah, and it's gonna, so when we talk about, I know people have heard for years, unfortunately on Facebook, where I came from, for years since Facebook's been around, everyone's saying next year there's going to be this happening. And I always tell people, do not go by channeled information because you're going to get your hopes up for that year. And luckily I used to write for Sedona Journal of Emergence, which is a big magazine here in the States internationally. And
Mm.
they had people that channeled, but I didn't. I had telepathic information for the Astro Command. So that's what I did in that magazine. It's a great magazine, but you have to just read through a lot of it. And so I think people need to realize that when we talk about contact in 2026, originally, before I came on here, the contact period was 27, 28. The timeline has shifted to 2026. Now, whether people believe we're going to be contacted by the Ashtar Command people or not, it's going to happen. Why do you think all these orb sightings are happening? People in
Oh yeah,
on
they're
Tik,
very slowly
you
getting
know,
us used to the idea. Like you and I are
absolutely.
ready, we'll be fine. But just
Oh
us
yeah,
talking about it is helping people. They can believe or not, but at least subconsciously, they know. Like we know they're around. They've heard about it. They won't be as afraid. And all we
yeah,
can do is just tell them to not be afraid.
yeah. And whatever information you're hearing about other things, a lot of it's misinformation. I luckily, because of my news background and that I studied in my days in college in Vermont, I have the mindset on the human level to look at everything. I can tell if something's posted on TikTok, YouTube, whether it's really good information or just misinformation or fake information or fear based. And there's there'll be people creating stuff just they don't use money. Love my things. No, the Ashtar Command, the space people, my parents. There's no money. Everything is free. The energy, everything is free. The
Essentially, once they're
societies are
done,
different.
no, you won't have to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah,
Everything will
it'll
be
be different.
perfect. It'll be
Very
very
different.
different.
Yeah,
And we will be much happier. Like it'll be a utopia, and because that's how they live. They live in a perfect utopia. And I'm just so excited. I really do hope that we get to see this come to fruition in our days.
and we will. I can tell you that definitively, without any hesitation. We're going to have contact, and I'll say it a million times to people. It's going to happen by 2026.
I'm
And
so
if people
happy because
think,
he said 2027, but 2026 even better.
yeah,
Even better.
2026.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
they don't tell us. My father never tells me when I'm going off planet, but he tells me I am, and I basically know. I've learned to be patient because that on a human level, I'm still human. My patience sometimes would be, oh, I want to go now because I'm excited. So I've learned to be patient about it, and I know it's coming, and I'm just patient about it.
Do you think that if there was some sort of disaster on Earth that was, I mean, just not, they couldn't stop it, nothing could stop it, do you think that they would come and get you and save you?
Uh, if that hypothetical situation happened, yes, they would. But the good news is they're not going to let our planet be destroyed. The Astro Command will never let that happen. They've seen what we've done to our planet. They're here to make sure that they restore our planet to a beautiful state of consciousness. And the Mother Earth is a sentient being. So people have to realize the Earth is alive, just like every planet in the universe has a living energy. And so the Earth, they're here to heal the planet, but we have to be good stewards as well. As they make contact with us, we have to actually be. We're going to participate in helping them heal our planet. We're going to be doing this together, collectively, so to speak. Great question.
Yeah. And I just want to say to Groovy Chick, I totally understand and I'm sorry. But like though she's saying that she doesn't like want to have to wait anymore, she's sick of suffering. I absolutely get where you're coming from. I mean, I really hope. I think that this is the most hope I've had for it in a long time. And I just, I kind of like literally for years, I kind of knew I was being taken. It didn't really bother me. I am so grateful that they woke me up. I am just ever so grateful for that. And it gives me a totally new, different. It's funny because my beliefs on God haven't changed. I pretty much had that right.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. So, I'm so incredibly, I feel so grateful that I was chosen to be woken up. I'm not sure exactly why. I know that part of it is that, I interface well. Maybe there are other reasons. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Although,
And,
so I want to know a little bit more about the Zeta Reticuli, though. Like,
so
what do
the
you think is going on
Zeta,
with that?
well, the Zeta, I tell people that have both positive ET contact with the space people, and then the Zeta, that I tell them, disconnect from the Zeta. You don't focus on, like in your case, the Verdians. Focus on them. If you still have the Zeta connecting with you, you can stand firm in your light and say, I'm a Christed being of light. I do not wish to have the Zeta anymore communicate with me. You please will not do this anymore. And a matter of fact, one of the things that if you really say that to them, they have to respect that because you are at a higher frequency than they are.
Yeah, so this is funny. So literally, there was somebody that was, and during the day now, Paul apologized to me about them taking me. He didn't tell me too much. He did apologize about
Mm-hmm.
that happening. He did not tell me the purpose for them taking me. I would imagine that it's procreation or something along those lines.
Yeah,
But, it was very, I don't remember, but still it was very scary.
yeah.
But he did tell me that I wouldn't see them again, and I haven't. So thank
Well, that's
goodness for
because
that.
the Verdin are they're from a higher spiritual realm, so they know where the Zeta were, and they probably cut off the frequency of communications with them, which is good.
Yeah, but nothing. And no, I haven't seen them in a little while, but nothing. She asked what they give me for taking my eggs without asking me. Nothing. I also think it's interesting that I need to. My grandmother said the same thing. So much of what she told me, like, came
Hmm.
back to me when it started happening. She said that, yeah, she would just be pregnant, like, even when it was impossible. And it would last 2 to 3 months, and then the baby would just poof, be gone.
Yeah,
Exactly
interesting,
what happened.
interesting. And people have to understand, I've done this show for like 3 years, but I've done more things on my radio side. I've done workshops. I've been to places with other people that are contactees and so forth in person. And I've met a lot of different people in my life. And I can tell you, with my knowledge I have galactically and spiritually, that every different spiritual being of light, whatever planet they come from, they all definitely are plant based, which are vegetarians, but they all come from different levels of life, and they're living life. Some of them, they have home planets where they live on, and they have beautiful planets, pristine planets. Others travel through space. They travel the multiverse. They come to different places to learn about other planets just for the peaceful purposes. Then you have the different lower vibrational ETs. Their only purpose is to do stuff that, or I use Earth as an example, for over 70 years, abducting human beings for purposes of their own selfish purpose, which is the Zeta used to have the Zeta Reticuli system, used to be like Earth, used to be a place similar to us with a human population. They messed up their planet in many different ways, what I won't go into, but they messed it up so much that they needed our DNA to recreate what they call a hybrid race of looking like humans with hair and a human feature versus the way they look now. So,
Very different.
very different. So they're low vibrational ETs, the Zeta. And then if anyone says, "Oh, the Zeta are good," no, the Zeta are not good. If anyone says,
They're not
if anyone
totally evil, but
they're
they're
not totally
not.
evil, but they're just doing what they do because they're basically needing to get back what they lost, and they'll never get it back 100% because their vibrational level's so low. Even though they have spaceships, they're stuck in this universe. They can't take their advanced spaceship and go to the next level of consciousness because they are stuck in this particular time frame.
Do they want our bodies to live in? No, but they would like to create hybrids that would be okay, that would be a lot more like us, especially the little grays. So they are biological AI created by a planet that no longer exists. And they know that they don't have a soul like we do. So even
Hmm.
if they live a billion years, they know at some point there's an expiration date for them.
Right.
But if you have a soul, there isn't. So what they want, thank you so much. What they want is to create some kind of hybrid that they can transfer their consciousness into.
Okay, I'm not sure who is manipulating who. So he's trying to manipulate people. He's a fraud. I think I'm going to take that person out. I think they're. Let me see here.
I can guarantee this man is not a fraud. He is doing amazing things by letting us speak and by talking about what's going on. And just, don't be. I understand. I ask people all the time who are so skeptical, like, why are you afraid? Why?
Well, when they get to the point of saying you're a fraud, I just did. She says, yes, block me. I will do that. I just did. And she's done with whoever they are. All right, we'll continue on
So,
here.
so you have had the most contact with ETs and all that, which is just incredible. Do you know why they chose you for that purpose and that mission?
Well, when I was a kid, that's the only time I physically saw them. After that, I didn't have physical contact, but I know I'm probably like anybody else, astral traveled,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been bilocated. There was a time when I was bilocation going on where I'd be driving and taking off planet and then driving on a highway, on the interstate highway in Connecticut. Um, that happened for a while, but I said that can't be happening because I'm driving. I need to know where I am. And so I stopped that. Yeah, that was happening for a while. And what's this picture you're showing here?
This is kind of the closest I could get AI to getting it almost right now. The eyes aren't correct. The head's a little bit different. But that's kind of like the skin and stuff. That's the closest that I could get through AI.
Hmm.
They would be. I'm
And
5'9", so they'd be shorter than me.
sure you.
But
So is that supposed to be a Verdin or a Zeta?
I tried to get no, that's not a Zeta. A Verdant would look different, but again, it's ChatGPT, so it's tough to really get it to do what you want. Um, but they would be in a robe. They would not be in a spacesuit. Their robes are kind of like that though. They're also kind of iridescent, sort of very silky, but more silvery. But yeah, that's the very best that I could do in terms of
Yeah,
like I said, they'd be shorter,
yeah,
but I tried my bestest on that one.
yeah. Because they have eyes similar to a Zeta, but you're trying
But
your best
yeah,
to
but
get a
no, the
bit.
Verdants have pupils. Or maybe, I've heard with the Zeta, it's because they come from a planet that is a lot darker. And I mean, I
Hmm.
think that the
Okay,
Verdants would as well because the way that they keep the lighting on the ship is very dim.
very dim lighting. Okay, interesting, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Drea, I want to thank you, man, for being here, coming on here. It's been a while. I've seen you live. I don't have time to get in and say hello, but
Thank you
definitely I
so
appreciate
much.
you.
Anytime. I absolutely I appreciate it. Thank you for all that you have done, Commander. I listen to you a lot and everyone, this is an amazing man. I can't thank you enough for everything you're doing. And I hope to talk to you soon. And anyone who would like to DM me, ask me questions, please feel free. I'm more than
Yeah,
happy to
definitely
answer.
feel free to DM her for sure. Hey, it's been great.
It's
And
been
if you have any new
wonderful.
information, if you're taking on the ship and you want to share more information with the Verdin, and I know you see them, tell them that they're welcome to
I will, you know
have
what?
you
I
share.
haven't told them about TikTok, but the next time that I see him, I'm absolutely going to say that, I got to tell people, and his concern will be, well, did they listen to you? Did they ridicule you? And I'm going to say, no, a lot of people, because, when I tell him, I want him to know that a lot of us are ready for contact. Most people are
Yeah,
there.
yeah. No, and I
So,
appreciate knowing that they're vegetarians, which tells me a lot about their civilization too. That's
oh,
pretty cool.
absolutely. 100% vehemently vegetarian. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they are benevolent and wonderful. And so are you, everybody. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, everyone, Jera, up in the Boston area, in
Thank you. Thank
Massachusetts. Thanks so
you.
much. All
All
right,
right. Have a
and
good one,
we're
everyone.
gonna,
You can go ahead and
yep,
drop
we
me.
got. I'll drop you very gently here, and let me see. We got some more people in queue here. You're watching Encounters, the number one spiritual UFO talk show. Let me see here. I'm gonna bring up Jen M. C. Penn. Jen M. C. Penn's our next guest, and we thank Jera for being with us here. Hey, Jen. Good evening.
Hi.
How you
I'm
doing?
actually really nervous.
Don't be nervous. Like my last guest, she came on camera. You're good here. I'm a contactee. I've had experiences. I treat everybody really in a beautiful way here. So you'll have a good time on the show. Just relax and tell me where you're from. And if you want to come on camera, you don't have to be nervous. If you don't want to come on camera, you don't. But you do have the
uh,
ability to come on camera.
sure, I'll come on camera.
All right. So I'm pressing the little button here. And
You
there
put
you
your
go. Good to have you with us, Jen.
Hi
And
everyone.
whereabouts around the planet are you?
Right now I'm in the south, along the Georgia-South Carolina border.
Oh, around the border. Okay, I know that. Well, I've been down south when I was a kid. So tell us your experience and what's happening with you.
I'll be honest with you, like almost everything that you guys have said tonight is so beyond my scope of experience. I'm not usually, I would even say I've been a skeptic. Um, but I had some weird experiences that I have honestly been questioning for the past 20 years.
Okay.
Um, I was in the military. I was in the army, and before my time in the army, I was in an ROTC program, and I had studied aerospace for 4 years. And like the fourth year of that program, you actually have to apply just to be accepted to it.
Oh
So I
wow.
had a fairly good, yeah, I had a fairly good understanding of our spacecraft and our abilities, right?
Mm,
As well as a pretty good understanding of military craft. So about now it would be about 22 years ago.
hmm.
I was at Fort Hood, stationed out of Texas, and I was being sent over to Belgium to go to the NATO base there. and I was staying at my uncle's house the night before our flight out of Dallas. And my uncle lives, and this is important, he has a really nice house where he has like these big windows, right? It
Yeah.
kind of, he's near a golf course. And so there's like not just the bottom story windows, there's like an upper story as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because his living room was very open. And I was laying on the phone talking to my family and just saying goodbye to everybody before I left to go overseas and, you know, not see my family again for a long time. And as I'm like talking to my dad, I'm just kind of gazing out the window, hanging out on the couch. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, I saw something fly over me. And what I immediately froze and just got really quiet. And my dad was like, "What's going on?" And I said, "I think I just saw an alien."
Oh wow.
He was like, "Jenny, shut up." You know?
I think I
And I
saw
was
a
like,
space person, ET.
yeah, I was like, I just think I think I saw something, you know, and
Yeah.
I used the colloquialism alien, but that wasn't it. It was a craft.
Right.
I saw it almost looked like, and this is the way I've explained it to everybody. It looked like as if someone's housing, like their recessed lighting flew overhead. So I saw these big, huge lights. And they were very dim, but they were very
Mm-hmm.
white.
Mm-hmm.
And they were moving over me so slowly and so close to the house that like it scared me. Like I stopped in my tracks and
Mm.
completely fight or flight kicked in, froze, stopped speaking everything, and just kind of drank it in and was like shaking almost because I couldn't understand what I was seeing, because everything that I knew up to that point, as I had already done, you know, the 4 years of aerospace by that point, um, we didn't have anything that would fly that low,
Yeah.
be that big,
Yep.
and fly that quietly. Like it was so close to the house.
Wow.
And so I you know, I get off, my dad kind of laughs, and I get off the phone with my dad and I like go shaking to my husband, and I was like, I just saw something.
Right.
And so we, you know, he comes with me, we run outside, there's nothing there. And so I draw it for him. I draw it for him
Mm-hmm.
right then and there. And I'm kind of shaken by this. I refuse to call it an alien or UFO or anything. Like I would insist at that time, because I'm a skeptic. At that time, I would say, I don't know what I saw. I just don't know what I saw, but I saw
Yeah.
something. And so we end up going to Belgium. We're at NATO, and my husband calls me from work. This is like 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, and mind you, this is all early days of the internet. So like there wasn't social media like we understand it.
Yeah.
At that time, there were a few like random websites like dedicated to people who were like UFO fans and all that
Right.
stuff. And news agencies were just starting to like have videos attached to their websites after like post 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And so he calls me and he says, I just saw something on the news. And I was like, what was it? And he said, apparently there was a sighting in Mexico and it's made the news. It made like CNN. They're talking all about it. And it sounds like what you told me you saw. And
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
no way. So I run to the internet and I'm trying to pull it up on CNN's early website, MSNBC, all of those. And I can't find it. So I go to a rando UFO website, and one of the
Mhm.
top things I see was Belgian UFO, and I thought, oh, that's
Oh, wow.
funny because I'm in Belgium. I'm like, let me see what the UFOs look like here, you know. And so I click on it, and I literally almost fell out of my seat because
Oh my God.
yes, this was a sighting from Belgium, but it was exactly what I had seen in Texas 2 years before. And
Oh, wow.
I drew it for you guys the same way I drew it for my husband, because I wanted to show you like what I had seen. And this was what I saw.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and the one in Belgium, for people who know the history, I saw a whole documentary about Belgium, and the Belgian Air Force came forward with a description of what people were saying. It was a
Really?
triangular craft, and it had like lights at the bottom, like 3 very bright lights. You're drawing
Yeah,
there.
they were huge. They were enormous, and they moved so it moved so slow and so close to me, and silence, didn't rattle my
Hmm.
windows, nothing.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
It,
And when you saw it, what kind of feeling did you get looking at it? Because I'm very interested with the triangular spaceships. Some of them are reverse engineered by our government from
hmm,
low vibrational ETs. They have technology, so they reverse engineer it at places like Wright-Patterson or Area 51. So when you were
really?
looking at it, was there any sound to the craft at all, or was there no sound?
No, that honestly, like, it's not, I don't want to say that it gave me a feeling. I just know, like, the feeling that I had was simply terror, because
Yeah.
I couldn't compute it. I was so like,
Mm.
it was the antithesis of everything that I had just studied years ago. Like, it didn't
Wow.
make sense to me. How could it be
Yeah.
so big? How could it be so low in the air that it can like glide over the house? And
Hmm.
why don't I hear it? It didn't make sense to me that I should be able to hear something that big moving
Right.
that close, because my first instinct is to, I think, being military and understanding what I did about that world, my understanding, or my, I guess my skeptic's mind, was
Right.
always that, because like, if you look back at the UFO sightings in the 80s or in the 70s and stuff like that, some of them look a lot like the stealth bomber, because we were
Right.
testing the stealth bomber. It
We
was
were.
flying
Yeah.
around, people were witnessing it, people were reporting it, and it wasn't until we finally, announced it, that a lot of people realized that the UFO sightings they saw were real UFO sightings. They just also happened to be American spacecraft, right?
Right. That's right. That's true.
So I assumed it was kind of like that. So for the longest time, I was like, I don't know what I saw. Maybe I saw something that was made by our military. I am near near many bases, and at this time, I was right by an airport. And I thought, okay, maybe that's what I saw. And I would try as much to dismiss it as that, and not like put a name on it, because I just
Right.
couldn't understand it. But even knowing that, and even trying to be like, well, maybe I saw some futuristic American craft,
Yeah.
I still would always catch on the fact that, like, but why didn't I hear it? Why
Right.
didn't I
Why did you
hear
hear it?
it?
Why was there no sound, folks? Is what you're saying.
Why
Why
was there
didn't
no
she hear
sound?
sound over this triangular thing? So here's the thing. This is really interesting, Jen. Um, the ones that have sound are, from what people have said, they just look like they're our own reverse engineered craft. They'll have sound. The ones that have no sound, that are triangular, those are extraterrestrial spaceships. So
Hmm.
I've studied this for a long time. So people say, well, I saw like a triangular craft, and the triangular craft had these lights that were going nuts, but there was no sound to the craft. Why was there no sound to the craft? Because when we reverse engineered extraterrestrial spaceships, when we do the reverse engineering, they have sound to them. People say there's a sound coming to it. They'll feel some sound. They not just feel it; they'll hear the sound, I should say. The ones that have no sound usually will be the extraterrestrial craft.
Interesting. I actually, so it's funny that you say that, because I have a second sighting. We ended up going from Belgium. My husband got stationed at this time at Fort Riley. I was out. I had gotten out to raise our daughter. So I got out of the military, but he was still in, and we were being sent to Fort Riley, Kansas. And I don't know if there's any vets in the chat, but you'll kind of understand what I'm saying, I think, more than other
Right.
people.
That's right.
So the thing about Fort Riley, Kansas, that you have to understand is it is a very small, it's a small base that is surrounded by small towns. One of
Right.
them being Junction City on one side of the base, and on the port, on the one side, on the other side of the base where it opens, is a very small town called Ogden. And in
Mm-hmm.
Ogden, it is literally like a very small neighborhood of older colonial homes. There's like a trailer park, and a few pawn shops, some gas stations, and that's it. We had, me, my husband, and my daughter, we had gone out to eat at a neighboring city. And we were
Mm-hmm.
driving back by way of Ogden to the base. And before you get there, so there's like a highway, and this is important. There's a highway that kind of crests and goes down, right? And
Right.
then here's Ogden, the city, and here's the base over here, right? So we get
Mhm.
off the highway and are going through or going towards Ogden to get towards the gate that the base is letting us in, right?
Mm.
And as I'm on the highway, and I can see as we crest the hill on the highway and I can see Ogden, I said to my husband, I said, "Do you see those lights?" And he said, "Oh, it must be like a radio tower." And I looked at him and I was like, "A radio tower in Ogden?" I was like, "There's no way. We don't have a radio tower in Ogden. There's nothing in Ogden." And
Right.
because they were little red lights. And he says to me, "Well, like maybe they're up on a building, like on top of the building, like maybe someone has a satellite or something like that, right?" Where he's just kind of spitballing with me as we're driving closer to it. And I looked at him again and I said, "What building is in Ogden is over 2 stories? Like there's no like municipal building that's 3 or 4, stories high. There's nothing. So I now at this point he's kind of looking at me and he's like, "You know what? You're right. That doesn't make sense." And there was a moment where we kind of exchanged a look where I knew that he was thinking the same thing I was, which was like we were thinking of it like soldiers, because it's suspicious to soldiers when we see red light, because we know that when we're in training and stuff like that, we use
Yeah.
red light because red light doesn't travel as far.
That's
So we
right.
use
That's
red
true.
light to get around when we're
Yeah.
trying to be sneaky because we're hoped not to be noticed.
Right.
So once I was like, no, that logic doesn't make sense. It's not a radio tower. It's not a high building. What are
Mhm.
those red lights? He was like, "You're right." And so we crest the hill, we get off the highway, and we start driving towards it.
Oh, wow.
And we got like it was sitting almost on top. I don't want to say sitting because it wasn't sitting. It was hovering.
Right.
It was
Hovering on top of the
hovering.
area.
It was hovering on top of like one of the only 2-story buildings in the
Oh,
area,
wow.
which was like one of the pawn shops, right?
Mhm.
And thank you. It was hovering above one of those buildings, and when we got like close to it, I turned off the radio. I rolled down my windows because I'm remembering what happened years ago, and I'm like, I'm gonna hear this thing. I don't know what I'm like, no way have I seen something weird twice, right?
Right.
And so we creep up on it. We get off the highway, we creep up on it, and we're like maybe a building away.
Mhm.
When all of a sudden it starts to move. And I said to him, like, "Is it moving because like it knows we're coming over here for it?" Because
Right. That's
we're
right.
at this point, I'm like, I'm wondering again, as like a military minded person, I'm driving up to our base, I'm seeing something flying overhead with red lights.
Right.
I'm wondering if we're being surveilled by another country, if this is some kind of spy craft that we're not aware of. Because by this
Mhm.
point, we had started to create drones, but for our drones look like big white drones, right? They're
Okay.
not what we think of as drones nowadays.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
the military drones were very different. So I'm like wondering at this point if maybe like I'm seeing some foreign army craft,
Mhm.
that's surveilling us, that's
As you're
trying
getting
to
closer to it, right? Yeah.
exactly, and trying to evade us from being able to get too close, but also trying not to be noticeable because it was really dark. And
Yeah.
so to understand like what I was seeing, I have to explain to you like there's not a lot of light, right? There is some light pollution because I'm not in a city, I'm in Ogden. But
Ogden.
there is some street lights and I'm underneath them. So between where they are and where I am is a layer of light, making it hard to really see it.
Right.
And the closest I could describe it to is because at the time I said to my husband, I said, "Is that it's like almost like armature," because I felt like I could see stars through it, but I also felt like I could see the reflection of light on like angles of it.
Yeah.
It's almost what I would equate to what we think of now as drones
Yeah.
looking like if
Yeah.
someone were going to make a drone really big. It was as we got closer and we saw it hovering there, he looks at me again and he's like, "Could it be a helicopter?" And I said, "Listen, do you
Right.
hear a helicopter?
Right.
Like
Does
how
it look like a
you
helicopter?
can't be this exactly. Does it look like a helicopter? How could we would be able to hear it, right?"
Right.
And so we get up and we get right up to the building and it goes right over our car, like 1 story above us. That's it. It goes right over our car. And I said, follow it. And so he's we're kind of laughing at this point.
And people asking, how many years ago did this happen? Can you give the
This
year?
happened 2000. How old was my daughter?
2000.
Probably about 2007. So we
Okay,
didn't have
okay, go ahead.
yeah, we didn't have camera phones at the time. I had a BlackBerry World, and I could text, but I couldn't record any of this. Actually, yeah, it was kind of triangular shape. I took a picture. I drew a picture just like I did of the other one, so you guys could see what I mean.
Oh, wow.
It was like I could see red lights floating, and I could see occasionally light reflecting off the angles of it.
And that looked different than the other one.
Yes, and I could also see through it though, like in these gaps here, I could see the stars in the night sky. You know what I mean? So it was almost like the framing of something, or it was bending light, so I couldn't see.
Wow, that's interesting.
I could see through it and see it.
It was translucent.
Yeah, in that not like I was looking through film, but almost like I was so confused by what I saw, because why do I see the stars behind you, but I can also see the light reflecting off the edges of you?
Right.
Does that make sense?
That's what I was asking where it was. It was in Ogden, Utah, correct?
No, this is in Ogden, Kansas, right outside of
Ogden, Kansas. I know this is in Ogden, Utah, I think, but you're in Ogden, Kansas. So it was in Ogden, Kansas. And this thing, you were driving to it for people that are just coming in. And what Jen was, they were looking at this thing, and the description of the picture looks more, it doesn't look triangular. It looks more like almost.
Yeah, it was kind of shaped like this. It came to a point.
Almost like a diamond.
Yeah,
it looked like
that.
Yeah,
I think
like
that'd probably be closest to it. So, so as we got close to it, we're kind of bickering back and forth, because I was like, "There's no way that's no way that's a helicopter. Oh my God, follow it!" And we did. We literally followed this thing, and we started. So we turned when it flew overhead of us. Right, we turned left, and now we're underneath it, and we're cruising underneath it, and
underneath it,
and that's
man almighty,
right underneath it, and it goes right. And I looked at my husband and I said, I think it's trying to outmaneuver us. It knows it. You're not going to convince me at this point that it doesn't know we're following it, because it's moving when we move. Every time we go to change our direction, it's moving again, So we follow it through the roads in Ogden. And mind you, again, I said this was a little neighborhood, right? And finally, we turn around, because it kind of outmaneuvered us. We went this way and it went that way, and so we whipped around and turned this way, and then went straight back towards kind of parallel to that highway that I was talking about. And that's when we bumped up against one of those big fences in a field, right? So there's a big fence that said no trespassing, and beyond that was just a field. And so we stop at the fence and watch it just go right over us and land down, almost I don't want to say land, it lowered down into the trees across that field. So I look at my husband and I'm like, back up, get on that highway, because like I said before, the town's right here, the little field's over here, and the highway goes over it, right along the side. So I want to get on that highway to see if I can't see down into that field or into that that pasture, So we, book it. We're going as fast as we possibly can, get back on the highway, and it was just gone. It disappeared into the trees, and it had never been there.
Oh my God. That's crazy. So what kind of vibe were you getting when I hear these stories? I'm always interested. What was the kind of feeling? Did you feel excited, afraid, interested, curious?
I think it was, for me, it was much less afraid than the first time, because it was a few different reasons. One, because I felt validated, because I had been telling him about this other thing that I had seen for, by this point, 5 years, And so it was great to see something and have someone else with me who was experiencing it with me.
Right.
And this is somebody whose opinion I value very much. My husband and I both had clearances at this time. He's an
Yeah.
intel analyst. He's a very smart man. He's also a skeptic. So to
Right.
had to have him experience it in real time with me, and to be able to be like, no, I also don't hear it. I also don't know what it is. And, we both have a lot of experience with military craft. We know what they are and what they look like and what we're capable of. And so it felt like wonderful to have this experience alongside somebody that I respect, who could tell me I'm not crazy. I did see this. And it was exciting to as silly as it was exciting to chase it,
Yeah.
and to try to get a better view of it. And
And what's funny though, Jen, it was trying out. It was like having fun playing with you.
outmaneuvered us.
It was doing it on
Fully.
purpose. Yeah.
Oh, fully.
That's
And
amazing.
that was the other thing. You said, how did you feel? And I would say overwhelmingly, aside from validated and excited by chasing it, I felt
Yeah.
oh, I know you see me. That was overwhelming. The same way I guess I would feel on a battlefield if I knew the other person, there's a feeling
And
when
when
you're
you and when
I
you were
clocked
saying
you, clocking me.
and you're saying internally to them, you're saying whoever the intelligence is on that ship, you're saying telepathically, I know you see me. And they're
Oh yeah, for
responding
sure.
by movement. They're responding to you by she's getting response by movement,
Oh, for sure. I definitely felt, and I felt frustrated too at the end, because we were outmaneuvered. We were fully outmaneuvered. We tried to to sidle up on it to try to get a better view, and it was I don't want to say it maybe it could have been faster than us. It didn't try to speed away. Much like the first thing I had saw, it was moving slower than I would expect if I were to have been a believer. You know what I mean? You expect what you see in the movies and things zip out of, the frame. And in both my instances, it was almost, how do I put this? While it did outmaneuver us and it didn't let us follow it or clock it too much, right? It also felt oh, you're not scared of me. You're not trying to
Right.
run from me, right? You're not trying to
Right.
zip out of existence. You don't care if I see you or not. That kind of I notice you, I'm leaving because you're looking at me, but there was no urgency in it, in that kind of there was urgency in us. We were maneuvering quickly, and it was just taking its sweet time, laughing at us, and then
Right.
dipping into trees yeah, so what, you see me, whatever. That's how it felt. I felt because I almost feel say had it been a military operation or a foreign agent operation, right? I would assume that upon discovery, a foreign agent would either
Right.
be hostile or be oh no, I need to get out of here. And that's not what it felt like. It felt oh damn, they see us, let's go. And no urgency on its part, no big maneuvers to get away, just simply don't follow me, and then I'm gonna go hide in these trees now. And I felt that was just, it was a weird interaction, because I knew it was maneuvering based on our maneuvers, because it moved every time that we moved, but
Right.
it also didn't try to hide.
You see, that's what I find interesting. I think you had a positive experience. I think they wanted you to see them, and I think they were having a little bit of fun.
Oh yeah, it felt like that. It felt like that, because it could have at any time just left, but it let us follow it down the roads. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I would have been I probably would have been doing the same thing. I would have been going down that road, and I would have
Oh yeah,
probably.
there was no way I wasn't following it.
I would probably say in my internal consciousness, please do not keep going away as I'm getting closer. Let's, have a cup of coffee, or why don't you land your ship in the field, and we can say hello to each other. Yeah, but you never
I'm
know
not
what's
that
going to
brave.
happen. Yeah,
And also, I was really still, even then, kind of warring with myself,
yeah,
what if this is foreign craft I don't know of? You know what I mean? Maybe we were being surveilled by a foreign entity. I mean, we had the whole conversation then for a week on whether or not we're going to report it. Because
right.
are they going to think we're nuts if we go to the MPs and are here's this weird thing we saw right outside the base? Maybe you
Yeah.
guys should investigate it. How do you tell people that?
Yeah, really. I mean, 30 years later, where we are now in 2025, We've seen all kinds of stuff happening now. We've seen the orbs. People, I think, out of all the social media on TikTok, a lot of people here, the ones without the CGI and AI fake stuff, there are people every night I see really good footage people recording. And some of it I posted on my main page here. And I've contacted these people, which I do for the show. And I've had some of these people come on my show and show their videos. And I really try to let people share their stories, like your story from 2007. I think all these things add up to something greater than we as humans understand. I think we live in a society where we've been taught not to believe that there are people from other planets or there are spaceships coming from other worlds. And the fact is, if you believe that there's nothing out there coming from another world, then you're living in a limited state of consciousness, which is a 3D consciousness. If you understand that I'm a healthy skeptic, so for me, my thing is videos. When I see UFO videos, that's where my healthy skepticism comes in. I look at all the footage I get on email. I try to decipher which is real. I ask them what the date, locations of their footage is. And I've posted nothing but good footage on my main page for people to learn that there are things happening all over the place. And it's increasing every day. It's so much so that it's almost hard I'd have to post 3 or 4 videos a day to keep up with what's happening. That's how much is going on now. And these are the orbs. These are these really amazing things that people are videotaping. I had a videotape that's on I posted. I think it's a spaceship. It was a golden, beautiful light. This person's been documenting for a long time all this stuff. And I'm like, I got to post this. People need to see it. And there's so much going on now. I think some humans who don't believe that there is intelligent life in the universe coming here are missing the boat really, really strongly, because I've been involved in this thing for years. I've seen them. I've seen the space people. They do exist and they are real. So, everyone can have a different perspective, and that's the way the world is. But you can't tell somebody, oh, they don't exist when they do exist, because you're an experiencer, which I am, and I've seen the space people when I was a kid. They do exist. They're real people. They come from other places. People need to wake up. If you believe that none of this exists, or you don't believe, like Jen's talking about, exists, or anybody else here exists, you need to wake up. That's something to do.
I've definitely become less of a skeptic as the years have gone on, because one, I do see a lot of other people, and since then I have seen other people or other videos or describing the same crafts that I saw. But I also think for me, it also comes down to, well, it's been 20 years now, and there has been no stealth bomber. There has been nothing that's been revealed that explains what I saw, nor have we in 20 years. We've now, like at that time, like my concept of a drone was very limited to what we were doing in the military at that time. And as drone technology has evolved, I've still seen nothing that looks even close to or had the capabilities, especially the silence, as to what I had seen.
Right. So that's the thing. So I think we're in a better place now than we were 34 years ago, because then even the people growing up in different decades, they were seeing things, Jen, like they had the Blue Book Project, where the Air Force would go out and investigate publicly people like you and me. If we were living in the 60s and we're adults, they say, you're out in Oklahoma somewhere in the field there, you saw something? So they'd send somebody out there. J. Allen Hynek was with the Air Force doing these investigations, and it's been documented. Project Blue Book went underground. Basically, they said they closed the project. They never did. But the Air Force did is take it to another level secretly, so nobody would know what's going on. They just totally went, covered it up. But, it's definitely a lot going on right now. It's going to get crazier. There are going to be things everyone out here is going to see in the skies that you've never seen before. And I always tell people, have a phone in hand now. 30 years later, we have
right.
Phones,
I pay attention now. Now I'm like,
me too,
if it ever happens again, I'm ready. I got my phone ready. Because it kills me that I don't have an image. I was so close to both of them. I mean, like literally within 10 feet. I was one story away both times, and to have it happen before the age of camera phones is an unbelievably frustrating thing to be like, I wish I could show people what I saw that night. It helps though to have because people might think I'm nuts, but my husband,
You're not.
He's as straight laced as it comes. So to have him be like, no, I saw it, was the weirdest experience of my life. It helps.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just, it's a lot going on. I've interviewed people with top security clearance on my show in the last 3 years. There's just so much going on. I have people that message me that have a top security clearance. And basically, I know what's going on because I'm in contact on my show with space people telepathically on channel. And I know things that are going to happen here. When people say, oh, it's not going to happen, I know certain things are going to happen on our planet in less than a year before this year's over. And it all has to do with positive contact. And there are people that have these spiritual ET belief systems that are focused on a specific paradigm. But in truth, when the space people do physically show up, I want to see how many people on this planet are going to notice their ships, how many people are going to have their eyes open, how many people are going to be awakened, because we have like billions of people on our planet. So I'm sure a lot of people will be awakened, but there's a lot of people that are still right now asleep. They have their own perceptions of reality, which is fine. Hey, look, we live in a free will, society. Everyone should. But the truth is, when the real space people come here, are people on this planet, are there going to be people here that will deny they even see anything, or deny that they come off a spaceship in their space outfits as humans, and then they come here and say, well, I didn't see that. How come you didn't see it? There's 10 other people over here looking at them. They're coming right at you. I don't see them. So you can, people can put a blind over their eyes, but you can't stop the truth from coming out. You can't stop.
I can see that happen. because if I had just like, if I could have very easily, when I said, well, what are those lights? And my husband said, oh, it's a radio tower. I could have easily have dismissed it as that too, but it was the logic of it. I was like, there's no radio towers there. There's nothing more than two-story buildings.
You know where you are. You know the area.
I could have missed it, except for that I knew the area and I was like, no, that's not right. We need to go down there. I want to go see what that is.
I'm glad you did that. Well, you actually have a great story. I appreciate you, man. I can't believe it's almost 1:00 on the East Coast here. So we go from 11 to 1. I want to thank Jen for sharing her story. You've been a great guest. You see how easy it was to come on here, feel comfortable and relaxed. So everyone, thank you, Jen. I want to thank you. We're going to close to closing time. I'm going to show one spaceship video, I think, tonight before we close the show. So I'm going to pull the video up and I'm going to show people one of the videos I posted on my main page here. And I want to thank Jen again for being a guest here on Encounters.
Feel free to follow me.
And follow her too. And I am following you, I think, too. I think I want to make sure.
Yeah, we followed each other because I started coming in here because, I don't know about any of this stuff. I've always been a skeptic, but I started watching your shows. It's interesting to see what other people think and how they've lived with these experiences.
And you know what? Part of the reason I do the show, because I have my own abilities, is when we hear people from all over the world, we start to feel like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not this individual person with my husband. There's people in Denmark. There's people in England that have shared their stories. People in Africa have come on here. I have international,
especially 20 years ago. 20 years ago, there wasn't as much of a community for this, and there weren't so many of these videos, and it was relegated to the fringe of the internet and something that people ridiculed. So I didn't talk. I think the very first time I ever talked about this, even remotely publicly, was a few years back, or like a year or so ago, when I made a joke on TikTok that if people got me to 10K, I would tell my UFO story. And that was the first and only time I've ever spoken about it up until tonight.
And I should say I'm bringing Roxy up. Roxy's our last guest. So I'm going to let you down and bring Roxy up. And Roxy will be our last guest.
Bye, everyone.
Roxy has some great stuff always when I bring Roxy up, and is a contactee as well. So, Jen, thank you so much for being here on Encounters. My name is CmdrAleon. You're watching Encounters, the talk show here on TikTok for over 3 years, and we are here to bust the matrix. So, hey, take care, Jen. We'll bring you down to watch and listen. All right, let's do this here. We're going to bring our friend Roxy up. Let me see here. Where is Roxy? Oh, here he is. Roxy has been a guest before, a great guest, and we're going to bring Roxy up as our last guest for the night. And we'll get to more guests tomorrow night on Encounters, but Roxy's our last guest. You're watching Encounters. Hey, Roxy, how you doing, brother?
Hey, how's it going?
We're going good. I know you always have great information. What would you like to share today?
Man, I got a story for you, and it's last week today. As you know, my husband's a truck driver, and
Yeah.
I've shown you the videos in the trucking terminal where we go sometimes. And we were in Lewiston, Idaho, and we were just getting ready to drop off a trailer and stop for the night.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout the night, not we, I mean, it's we because he was there, but he concentrated on driving.
Right. Right.
So here's the funny thing. First, I'm going to say tonight, along with Jen's story, that exact same shape of ship that she saw,
Mm-hmm.
I saw going through the area where I stay, and it was hovering, and I saw the full shape just like she showed, and then I was just getting off the freeway, and I saw it in my peripheral side vision, and I was like, oh my god, okay, I know what that is. And then when I got off the freeway and pulled into where I was going, it had turned and just went the other direction. So I didn't think anything of it. I knew what it was. But anyway, let's go to the story where this time last week, we pulled into the terminal, dropped off the trailer, and I didn't think this was going to happen. This was the most I've been to my Star Family's planet, but when we pulled in, dropped a trailer, when you bobtail, you're just the truck, and so then you go you can just go to a section and park, so you don't park with the other trailers because you don't have a trailer behind you. So we did that, turned off the truck, he did his inspection, got back in. Then I heard a humming sound, as you heard last time. Everybody heard last time you talked to me, I'm sure you remember.
Right, yeah.
And I all of a sudden saw a bright light, and then happened to be transported into their ship. Well, I thought it was just me until I realized what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did they transport me, they transported me, my husband, and my dogs.
Really?
Yes.
And they did this at the truck stop, correct?
No, it was the trucking terminal.
A trucking terminal, okay.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I looked and I'm like, wait, there's my dogs. Wait, there's my fucking husband. What the fuck? I mean, I'm sorry.
We gotta watch the language.
I'm sorry. But I was like, what the freak? What's going on? And my husband's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, well, I already know what this is. And I've already told you about it. And he's like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, so my Star Family took you up too. And for whatever reason, they took our dogs too. So then got approached by the commander of the ship. And he said, yeah, well, I brought you, but I also wanted to bring you and your family here. Because I feel it's that they need to know too that we are your family and we are watching you. And throughout this whole entire week, that week, I had saw multiple ships off and on where we were driving on the highway, and it was weird because they were actually up in the sky, but high enough you could see, and you couldn't really see them unless you were actually paying attention.
Yeah.
But they were following us up in the air. Literally, there was 2 ships on both sides of the truck.
Oh, wow.
Just following our truck. And this has been going on for several weeks.
Several weeks, everybody watching. Several weeks. And what part of the country was this happening? Just so people know.
Was, so we go all over the place. So this was like Tri-Cities, Washington, Seattle, Idaho, basically Boise, Idaho area.
Yeah, northwestern United States.
Yeah, because he goes all over. Normally he travels through the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
So he goes up and down the I-5 to Seattle, the little cities and towns through the Washington area, and then back down the they call it I-84 and go towards like Boise, Utah, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so,
Interesting.
anyways, back to the story where we were on in their ship, and they said, "Well, we wanted to bring everybody here so that he knows that he needs to be aware."
Hmm.
And they said that because if they just took me and then decided to keep me for a while, then they said basically they didn't want to worry the person that's important.
So they want to make sure your husband was aware so he wouldn't freak out or
So you
feel.
go like, oh, make a missing persons report, so on and so
Right, right,
forth.
right, right.
So then did all that, and they allowed him to explore this ship, and they didn't really quite know what to think about the dogs. They
Hmm.
weren't scared of the dogs because they were super friendly,
Okay.
um, but it was weird. Here's the other trick of the story. Obviously, they don't eat what we eat, but they also had some sort of something that looked like dog food, but it wasn't really dog food, I'm pretty sure.
Are they vegetarians at all? So my last Gerrica from Boston, her space contact with the Star People, they eat plant-based food.
It kind of looked like plant-based food, and what I saw in visual looked very vegetarian.
Okay.
But they had little, objects, but obviously they had water of some kind. So the dogs got water. They ate something. It didn't hurt the dogs. And then they said, well, basically we're here just to show your person that everything's okay. I would say if I was to think time, probably an hour. And then they said, well, we're gonna transport the dogs in your person
Hmm.
back to the truck,
People are
but we're
asking
but we're
Roxy,
gonna keep, but we're gonna keep you here.
what did the ship look like? There are people asking me, what did the inside of the ship look like?
Literally, it looked like it was in 5D dimensional diamond looking. The interior looked, it was shining, it was diamond, it was,
Right.
looked like platinum,
Hmm.
and it was like a clear, the floor was a clear, looked like a marble floor.
Marble floor. And what did the space people look like? Can you describe that? Some people are asking about that.
So these, if you were to describe them, if anybody knows what Egyptians look like,
Yeah.
they were, as you and I talked before, um, Anunnaki.
Anunnaki? Anunnaki,
Yeah.
yeah. If you know my friend Half Pint, her husband and her, Mary and Ray up in the Appalachians, they have contact with the Anunnaki, just like you do. I know we've spoken about Anunnaki. So these are Anunnaki, just to let people know who they are.
And
Your contact.
so then after about that time went by, they said, okay, well we need to transport your people and your person and your animals back to the where we got you from. We're
Right.
going to keep you here. I said, okay, no problem. So I stayed there. I kept track of days in my mind, so I
Hmm.
knew. But I was there for a week.
A week off planet, correct?
A week off planet.
So a week off planet is like an hour. Like if you had to come back to Earth, would you say you were off planet on Earth time for an hour and then off planet in there no time for a week?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that makes
So it was
sense.
and then once they transported them back, we had the obviously not discussion. Everything's telepathically, but it's still understood where we understand. Um, but they said that they needed to have conversations with me to know that they have been paying attention about my whereabouts and that the ships that I have been seeing for a while I'm traveling was them. They were watching me, um, and that they really know within the history of the world right now that the world's going in a very bad direction. Um, and they said that if it gets any worse, that they would like to just bring me, as they said, they would like to bring me home, and they know that my person and those two animals are my life,
Hmm.
and said that they would be more than willing to allow them to come up as well.
Hmm. Now, we're friends. You've talked before, and you have some great experiences. And this is just for people coming in here. When did this exactly happen? The other night, just to give them
Uh,
perspective.
yes.
Just the other night. So, Roxy has had many experiences with the Anunnaki. So this is interesting. Obviously, they want to make sure you're safe, your husband and your dogs and everything, your pets. Um, but at the same token, um, we have things happening on the planet. We all know we live here, right? We all see the crazy things happening with the structure of our planet. But also, we're going to have contact in 2026. How have they told you about that? Because the Anunnaki do work with the Ashtar Command.
So what they did tell me is that I need to be more aware of more visual sightings,
Hmm. Hmm.
because they are going to happen, and when they happen, they could be in an abundance, or
Yeah.
they could just be little by little.
Right, little. Well, you see the orbs now that people are posting here on TikTok, for example, they're happening all over the world. So those are the little by little things, like those beautiful orbs that we all see.
Hmm.
People are documenting them, which I think is great. On my main page, I've got people that have submitted stuff to me here. So I think they're telling you some really good stuff, and it's important because you're a contactee, and now your husband got to experience that. How did he feel after that experience?
He told me that he was super excited. He was scared at first, but since he knew the stuff that I had been through, he said that he wasn't so scared as it would have been by himself,
Hmm.
because I was there and they took me and him and the
Right.
dogs, and so it was a little bit more. He said he felt a little bit more comforting, and he
Hmm.
actually said it kind of felt like home.
Wow. Wow. So it's good, because if you have your mate, like my family, I have a daughter and my wife, um, when contact happens, they will be able to come with me on the ship. My
Hmm.
father's, they watch the show right now. They're watching me right now on the spaceship. They see you, they can see everybody's comments here. So it is a little bit after. We have 105,000 likes. Thank you. It's 1:08 a.m. in the morning on a Monday morning. Roxy, I want you to keep in touch, man. If you have more sightings, if you not only sightings, if you have more information they want to share, you're always welcome here
Oh, I do have to
to.
say one other thing.
Yeah.
When they also told me that when they do bring me up, uh, when it does get to be really bad here, more than what it already is,
Right.
they do want to give me a level of command on the ship.
Oh yeah, because you're connected with them. Yeah, of course you'd have a. My friend April has a level of command. She's a commander of her own spaceship off planet physically.
Oh, Jen, it's Roxy said he in the same crest as me. You asked which craft. It was the one that you showed a picture that you drew.
Yeah, Jen was on before. Jen, with her, she drew a really good picture,
Yeah, because
and so Roxy
she
was.
just typed a question, and so I
Oh, yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to make
yeah,
sure I answered that. So yeah, it was the exact ship that you drew and showed to everybody while you were telling your story.
yeah. Absolutely. See, it's in the
But yeah,
synchronicity. Go
so
ahead.
they agreed to give me a command on their ship, and they said that they will bring my family with me when that does happen. And they
Yeah,
said you may not know when it happens. We just may grab you in mid flight.
yeah. See, oh yeah. When the space people want to come, and if you let's say you were in a room in a house with your husband, what they do is they come through a rift. They break down the molecular structure of let's say a wall, and that wall's not there for a couple of minutes because now they've
Mhm.
opened a rift to go into the ship, and you'll see like a beautiful light around it, and then they come through the rift. They come right into your room, and they'll say, "Okay, you and your husband and the dogs, come on, we're going on the ship now." They'll take you right on the ship in
Oh,
like two
Miss, that
seconds.
was it was the second one she showed. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right. Well, Roxy, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate all your great information. You've always been a great guest, and we love having you on here. Is there any last comments you want to give to the
Oh
people around
no,
the
I
world?
just I just want everybody to know who's watching this that if you are skeptical, you just have to try to have an open mind, and even if you don't know what you're looking for when you're looking in the sky, um, my advice is better to see it at night because the sky is dark. So you're going to be able to pick it out and you're going to be able to see what's not normally there. And even in the daytime, where I have seen we driving down the highway with my husband and there no clouds in the sky, and then this happened like way the
Right.
other day, and then there
Yeah.
was this like oval looking shape of something. It wasn't a cloud, it was right next
Yeah.
to a cloud, and it hovered, kind of did this teeter thing, and then vanished.
Vanished. Right.
So, it things are there, and and you do have to have an open mind.
Yeah.
Because once your mind is closed, I mean, it's hard to open it, but it's gonna happen. And when everything really happens, like you say, Commander, it's gonna happen, and you really should open your eyes.
Yeah. That's a great point. Roxy, thank you so much. I appreciate you
Yes,
so
no
much, man.
problem. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate everything.
We love all the stuff you do, and I appreciate you too. And Roxy, we're going to bring Roxy down. Roxy is a regular. He's a contactee with the Anunnaki, the space people, and beautiful story. All right. Thank you, brother. We'll see
Yeah,
you
no
again soon.
problem.
All right. I'm going to bring Roxy down. And I'm going to, again, tomorrow night, we're on tomorrow night at 11. So if you're trying to get on the show, tomorrow night we'll hear more stories. I'm going to hold off on the video footage until tomorrow night at that kind of, it's kind of late. So we'll do some video, UFO news video footage tomorrow night on the show. You've been watching Encounters. Thank you for all the gifts. If you want to do any gifting before we go to my main page on my profile. Please follow me. That's really, it's like 550 people. Out of the 550, if you're not following me, press the follow button. If you're not pressing the like button, please do that too. And on my main page, on my bio, there's a link to my YouTube channel, Ashtar Command Spaceship News. Where I thank all my guests, all my viewers around the world. Thanks again. Hey, Tara, good to see you. Everybody have a great Monday morning, and we'll see you again. Thank you, Hollywood, and everybody out there. We'll be on tomorrow night, Busting the Matrix, here on Encounters. Take care.